My child, my beloved, there is a sound in the heavens that not many can hear but you. You are not like the rest. You are not just passing through this message. You were drawn to it because something divine inside of. If you recognize the signal, Archangel Michael has already drawn his sword. And in the realm where angels fly and shadows fall, a betrayal has already begun behind mind your back. It is not coming. It is here. While you slept, while you left, while you trusted someone close to you. Move like a whisper in the dark, hiding intentions that heaven can no longer allow to remain hidden. You were shielded from this pain for a time, but now the veil must be lifted, because what they are doing behind your back is worse than you imagine. God says this message will not stay open forever. In fact, only the chosen, the deeply chosen, will even feel the weight of this morning and open it before the time runs out. You are one of them. But the truth is, if you scroll away now or delay this, you may never get this moment coming back. That's why heaven sent this to your path and not theirs. Before we go deeper, pause for one moment and subscribe now. Not to a channel, but to the signal God is sending. You're not just watching a video or reading words. You are answering a call from heaven. It's time. My child, my beloved, the betrayal is not by a stranger. That would be easier. That would be survivable. But what makes this so urgent, so unbearable to even speak, is that it is someone. Someone you cried for. Someone you still believe might defend you when others, fall away. They have learned to smile with their lips while hiding venom behind their teeth. And the sword Archangel Michael holds is not raised to punish, but to protect what heaven cannot act without your awareness. And that is why this message is sacred. Do not share it. Do not speak it aloud to the wrong ears. First, the one who is betraying you knows you are aware. They will accelerate their plan. But if you remain silent and still as the Spirit leads you, the truth will expose self before it can harm you. The angelic realm is already watching this unfold like pages in a divine scroll. What you do next will decide whether this ends in breakthrough or heartbreak. That is why only the chosen are being shown this warning in time, and the ones who scroll away will wonder why everything collapsed without warning. But you, my beloved, are still on this page, and that is not by accident. God is still reaching for you. My child, my beloved, someone you thought was on your side is holding something behind their back. Not a gift, not a truth butter weapon. You have been marked by God for greater things, and that mark made you a target to those who once celebrated you. They have watched your face, your strength, your favor, and it has turned into jealousy, quiet resentment, and silent schemes. Archangel Michael saw it. That's why he came to stand by you, sword drawn, not to attack, but to warn. There are papers with your name on them. There are messages being sent about you in secret. There is a meeting being had in the spirit world about your future, and the enemy is trying to rewrite what happened already declared over your life. But God says no. Not this time. Not while you are still breathing and still listening. Not while you are reading this with an open heart. You are not alone. You were never alone. But now the time has come where you must listen more deeply than ever before. Turn off the noise. Silence the distractions. Focus your heart and spirit right now. Because this betrayal can be stopped. But only if you do what is about to be revealed next. My child, my beloved, There is a reason this message carries a warning so sharp, shakes the spirit. It's because time is no longer neutral. Time is now working for you or against you, and for those who ignore this final warning, it will shift violently against them. Heaven has waited long enough. You were given signs and dreams in that strange silence when someone walked into the room. In the tight feeling in your chest, the name was mentioned. And now Archangel Michael stands over you with his sword drawn, not in anger, but in whole protection. You may not see the betrayal clearly yet, but that is the danger because it is happening in disguise, behind kind words, behind casual messages, behind fake support. Someone is watching you not with love, but with hidden motive, and they have already spoken your name in a room you were not invited into. But heaven was there. The angels heard it, and that is why you were led to this moment. If you close your eyes right now and ask with honesty, God, show me who it is, you will begin to feel the truth rushing to you. But remember, this message is sacred. Not everyone should hear what you're about to know. Do not share this lightly. The betrayal is real, but so is your protection. My child, my beloved, what's being hidden from you is not just a betrayal of trust. It's a trap, and you were never meant to walk into it. That's why this message had to reach you before the next conversation happens, before you answer that message, before you meet that person again. Heaven is urgently trying to redirect your steps to block a road that looks harmless, but lead straight to heartbreak, loss, and confusion. This betrayal could steal your peace, drain your blessings, and delay your miracle. Unless you listen now. The one who has been smiling the most, complimenting, the most pretending, the most. That's the one the angels have their eyes on. You've been asking God, why do I feel drained after being around certain people? This is why. It is spiritual warfare hiding in normal clothes. But you are not alone. Archangel Michael was given orders directly from the throne of heaven to intervene. But even angels need your cooperation. That's why this message was timed perfectly. Because what you do next matters. You are not powerless. You are protected. But the shield only works if you stay awake. Stay alert. And don't give your loyalty to someone who has already made up their mind to betray you. My child, my beloved, a secret has been kept from you, not by God, but by the one who thinks they can outsmart heaven. They smiled in your presence and plotted behind your back. They blessed your name in public, but twisted it in private. But every word spoken against you has been recorded in the archives of the unseen realm. Not one has been missed. The betrayal is deep because it comes from someone you would have defended, someone you would have stood up for. Even now, if you didn't know the truth. That's what makes this message heavy, because heaven isn't just exposing a stranger, preparing you to walk away from someone you once considered safe. But you must let God pull you out before the plan completes. There are hours left, maybe minutes, before something irreversible is triggered. The Spirit is whispering urgently to your soul. Pay attention to the shift, the timing, the sudden mood changes, the strange energy when you're around them. These are not coincidences, they are holy alarms. Do not ignore the red flags anymore. They are not warnings. They are mercy. My child, my beloved, the person you're thinking of right now, the name that just dropped into your heart without warning, that's the one heaven is spotlighting. You didn't plan to think of them, but the Spirit brought them to the surface while you're reading this because because that's how divine confirmation works. It doesn't scream, it nudges. It doesn't accuse, it awakens. You felt the shift already. You've seen the signs, but your loyalty made you quiet. Your help made you stay. And now God is gently but urgently saying the clock is running out. What they're planning is not just words, it's movement. They are moving in ways that seem innocent, but the destination is damaged. They have spoken to someone else about you, someone who now carries a version of you that doesn't even exist. But what they don't know is heaven is watching. Angels have intercepted their whispers. And now, this message is your invitation to step into spiritual clarity before anything bend folds. Listen carefully, beloved. This is not fear. This is freedom. This is not paranoia. This is prophecy. You are being preserved before the storm ever touches you. My child, my beloved, if you're still reading this, it means your spirit is still listening. You didn't scroll away like others did. You didn't dismiss this as a coincidence. That alone confirms you are who heaven says you are chosen. There are others who were shown the same warning and ignored it. They're living in consequences now, but you still have time. This is your final shield. Archangel Michael is standing near with fire in his eyes and your name on his lips. This sword he carries is not meant to harm. It's meant to cut the ties that have been silently draining, meaning you for years. Some betrayals are subtle. They don't scream. They whisper. They manipulate slowly. But the damage builds like invisible cracks in a dam until one day it breaks. God is trying to stop that break before it ever reaches you. That's why this warning feels so personal, so intense. Because it is. Don't just hear these words, absorb them. Don't just believe in angels. Follow the instructions they're giving you. Walk away. Stay quiet. Protect your peace. Refuse to defend yourself where God is already defending you. My child, my beloved, you've carried this feeling for too long. That quiet heaviness, that unexplained burden that wraps itself around your chest. When alone wasn't just emotion, it was discernment. Heaven has been trying to reach you through your own spirit. Those dreams that ended before they made sense. Those sudden waves of sadness around specific people. Those moments where your body reacted before your mind understood. That was the Holy Spirit. You weren't being dramatic. You weren't being paranoid. You were being protected. And now, through this message, the veil is being removed fully. Archangel Michael says the person you suspect is closer to betrayal than you think. They've already taken a step, but the final step hasn't been taken yet. And this message was sent in the space between their move and your miracle. What you do right now can cancel the outcome the enemy planned. This is not a coincidence. This is spiritual interruption. God is halting something dark before it locks around your future. And it's because of what you carry, what you were born to do. The betrayal isn't about your past, it's about your potential. That's why it feels so personal, because hell is terrified of who you'll become if you stay whole. My child, my beloved, this is the moment where clarity must overrule comfort. You've been waiting for confirmation, and this is it. You've asked for a sign, and this is it. You've cried for truth to be revealed, and heaven has answered. There are no more delays. The person who is betraying you has already spoken to others, planting seeds of confusion. They are trying to control the narrative before you realize what they've done. But what they don't know is heaven outranks every plan spoken in secret. The sword in Michael's hand is not just drawn, it's burning. And the fire of that sword is already touching the lies. Soon the one who has betrayed you will begin to feel exposed. They will grow nervous. Their masks will slip. Watch closely. The Spirit will reveal them not with drama, but with undeniable peace. You will not need to argue. You will not need to fight. Just wait. Just listen. Just obey. Because this is a divine warning meant to save more than your emotions. It is saving your destiny. If you ignore this, you may still survive. But if you obey this, you will be elevated. God doesn't just want to preserve you. He wants to position you. My child, my beloved, they will try to explain it away. They will blame your sensitivity. They will act confused when the truth comes out. But God says, don't be fooled. The clarity you're receiving is not emotional, it's prophetic. What your spirit is sensing is not imagination, it is revelation. Do not let their smooth words convince you to second-guess the discernment have and gave you. The one who betrayed you is still watching, still gathering information, still pretending. But that pretending is about to collapse. God is already removing the mask. They will begin to slip up. The things they said behind closed doors will start leaking into their tone. Watch the shift in energy. What's the distance? Watch their sudden change in posture. Heaven is allowing this betrayal to unfold just enough that you'll never question what you saw. God is not trying to destroy them. He is trying to deliver you. And this is the only way you'll stop making excuses for the wrong people. You prayed for clarity. This is it. You asked for answers. This is them. You said, God, I'm tired of being confused. This is the response from the throne of heaven. You are no longer confused. You are being corrected and redirected. My child, my beloved, there is one thing you must understand, the one who is trained. You does not hate you, they envy you. And that envy turned to bitterness the moment they realized they could not control you. You were meant to shine, but they only supported your light as long as it didn't outshine theirs. The moment your favor became visible, their heart turned quietly against you. They may have never said it out loud, but haven't heard the silence. Haven't heard the bitterness behind the compliment. Heaven saw how they celebrated others loudly, but supported you quietly, cautiously, strategically. This is spiritual warfare masked in friendship, a storm dressed in politeness. But no more. The sword has been released to divide you from what is draining you. And yes, it might be painful, but it will be worth it. The peace that is coming after this separation will make you wonder how you ever lived without it. Don't be afraid to let go. Don't be afraid to walk away, even if it's someone you love, even if it's someone you thought would never turn. God is asking you to release the weight, not because they're evil, but because they can't go where you're going. My child, my beloved, you've been asking, why does it feel like something is always holding me back? And now the answer is arriving through divine words. The thing holding you back was never your effort. It was never your faith. It was the people hiding behind you, pretending to be for you. When you gave them space, they used it to study your weaknesses. When you gave them time, they used it to sabotage your strength. But now, the window is closing. What they tried to do will not succeed, because God interrupted it. And your obedience to stay in this moment, to keep reading, to stay listening, is is what activates the protection. This isn't a message to scare you. It's a message to liberate you. Once you recognize the betrayal and stop covering for it, heaven will rush in and replace what you lost with something holy, something real, something pure. Archangel Michael is not just watching you. He's walking with you through this moment, through this confrontation, through this transformation. And by the time this is done, the one who betrayed you will realize they were not just fighting you. They were fighting God's anointing on your life, and no one wins that battle. My child, my beloved, this is the part where most people turn away, where they hear the truth but retreat into comfort. But you are not like most people. You've come too far to walk away from the very clarity you prayed for. And because of that, heaven is granting you something rare foresight. You are being allowed to see the danger before it hits. Do you understand how precious that is? Most only see the betrayal after it bleeds, after it wounds. But you are being warned while there is still time to withdraw your heart, your presence, your energy. This is not a punishment. This is preservation. Archangel Michael didn't draw his sword to scare you. He drew it to create a boundary in the spirit, a line that says no more crossing, no more invading your peace, no more speaking your name without reverence, no more draining you silently while smiling publicly. And from this moment forward, heaven says your sensitivity is your shield. The way your heart tugs when you're around them, that's confirmation. The ones that suddenly rises when they call, that's a divine alert. Do not ignore your spirit anymore. It knows before your eyes do, and God speaks through that knowing. My child, my beloved, someone is about to be shocked, but it won't be you. The one who thought they could move against you in secret is about to be exposed in public. Not by drama, not by chaos, but by divine unfolding. Heaven is about to orchestrate moments where masks fall without effort. Conversations will slip. The truth will tumble out of their own mouth. And you won't have to say a word. You'll just know. You'll feel the air change. You'll feel your spirit breathe again. You'll see clearly. And in that moment, you'll remember this message, that this was the warning. This was the gift. This was the whisper from eternity reminding you, God doesn't let the faithful walk into betrayal blind. That's why you were chosen to hear this now. This is not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something pure, more powerful, more aligned with your soul. You don't need to be afraid of what's coming. You only need to be obedient. Heaven is ahead of the enemy, and the moment you decide to step away from what heaven is separating you from, the miracle waiting, turn on the other side will no longer be delayed. My child, my beloved, this is the moment where clarity must overrule comfort. You've been waiting for confirmation, and this is it. You've asked for a sign, and this is it. You've cried for truth to be revealed, and heaven has answered. There are no more delays. The person who is betraying you has already spoken to others, planting seeds of confusion. They are trying to control the narrative before you realize what they've done. But what they don't know is heaven outranks every plan spoken in secret. The sword in Michael's hand is not just drawn, it's burning. And the fire of that sword is already touching the lies. Soon the one who has betrayed you will begin to feel exposed. They will grow nervous. Their masks will slip. Watch closely. The Spirit will reveal them, not with drama, but with undeniable peace. You will not need to argue. You will not need to fight. Just wait. Just listen. Just obey. Because this is a divine warning meant to save more than your emotions. It is saving your destiny. If you ignore this, you may still survive. But if you obey this, you will be elevated. God doesn't just want to preserve you. He wants to position you. My child, my beloved, many people walk away from moments like this because the truth. This is too heavy. They say, maybe this isn't for me. They dismiss the divine warning and wonder later why their peace crumbled. But you are not one of them. If you've made it this far, it's because something deep in your soul knows that this message is not a message. It's a lifeline. Someone tried to bury you in the place you once trusted them the most. But they forgot one thing: you belong to God. And the soil they tried to bury you in is the same soil that heaven will use to grow your eel. What they meant for your end, God will use as your beginning. But you must stop giving your trust to those who've shown they cannot hold it. Trust is not given because of time it is earned by truth, and truth is what this message is delivering. The betrayal is unfolding, but it hasn't finished. You still have time to withdraw, to detach, to allow the sword of the angel to play you from the trap that was designed to look like safety. Don't let the enemy trick you into defending what God is trying to delete. My child, my beloved, there is a table being prepared in front of your enemies, just like the scriptures say. But before that table can be set, God needs to know you will not invite the wrong people to. The betrayal had to happen, because some people were never meant to walk into your next season. They were there for a chapter, but not the entire book. And heaven cannot allow your miracle to be contaminated. That's why the exposure is happening now, because what's coming to you is too holy to be beast in the hands of the unfaithful. This betrayal will sting, but it will also set you free. You'll begin to feel lighter, more clear. Moreland, don't chase explanations. Don't seek revenge. Let God be your justice. Let Archangel Michael guard your path. You just keep walking. Don't look back. Don't second guess. Because the faster you release the person tied to your betrayal, the faster your new life will begin. My child, my beloved, the weight you've been carrying is not your burden to hold anymore. God is reclaiming you. The betrayal you're sensing didn't start yesterday. It started long ago, but heaven allowed it to remain hidden for a season while you gathered strength. Well, you healed enough to walk away without crumbling. And now Archangel Michael stands before you, not with a whisper, but with a heavenly play roar that cuts through every illusion. You are being awakened. The blindfold that others tried to keep on your spirit is being burned away right now. This message isn't just words. It's a key unlocking the next phase of your life. You may have been lied to, used, misrepresented, and misunderstood, but you were never unprotected. The sword is already in motion. God is not asking you to fix what they broke. He is asking you to rise from it, to walk away without bitterness, to move forward with clarity, because your next season requires a lighter heart. There's no more space for betrayal to breathe in your atmosphere, and that is why the angels are clearing it out, not gently, but completely. My child, my beloved, listen to this closely. You were targeted not because you're weak, but because you carry divine favor. The enemy only sends betrayal toward what he fears. You have been marked by heaven as a changer of cycles. the one in your bloodline who would break pattern. Stop curses and walk into a future that looks nothing like your past. That kind of person always becomes a threat. But what they didn't count on was this: you still hear God. You still feel the nudges in your soul. You still pause when the Spirit says, pause. That's sensitivity. That's your protection. Archangel Michael has surrounded you with more than just a message today. He has surrounded you with insight, power, and courage. You don't need to argue anymore. You don't need to explain. You don't need to convince anyone who already chose to doubt you. All you need to do is obey this moment. If you keep trying to heal what God is asking you to walk away from, you will delay the very prom, I miss you, you've been praying for. Let them go. Let the betrayal reveal itself. The sword will handle the rest. My child, my beloved, you must understand something crucial now. The betray bill wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to redirect you. Have they stayed loyal, you might have kept them around longer than necessary, and their presence would have polluted your promise. God allowed the exposure, not because He wanted to hurt you, but because He wanted to cleanse the environment German before the blessing arrived. That's why you feel like something huge is coming, because it is. Your spirit is sensing the approach of something sacred, something heavy with glory. But heaven cannot pour oil into vessels that are cracked by betrayal. This message is not just telling you what happened. It is sealing you again, restoring you, rebuilding what was torn in silence. The parts of you that you gave away too freely are being returned now. And the sword in Michael's hand is cutting away the false ties that made you believe you needed their approval. You never needed them to see you. God always saw you. And now that God has pulled back the curtain, the light can finally touch what was hidden. My child, my beloved, this is not the time to explain yourself. It is not the time to try and fix the perceptions they twisted. God says, do not defend yourself. I will. Your silence is not weakness. It is warfare. It is strategy. Archangel Michael is not looking for your words. He's looking for your obedience. Heaven doesn't need your defense. It needs your alignment. As you quietly withdraw from the betrayer, you'll notice how quickly their true colors begin. The surface. Let them. Do not interfere. The revelation is part of your reward. God wants you to see what He sees, not to hurt you, but to free you. And when it's all said and done, you will not only be protected, you will be elevated. There are doors waiting to open for you, doors that stay shut because you were still connected to sabotage. But now that heaven is severing the ties, those doors are beginning to respond. You may feel tired, shaken, even overwhelmed, but that's not weakness. That spiritual detox. The betrayal was poisoning you slowly, and now that it's being removed, your body, mind, and spirit are remembering how freedom feels. My child, my beloved, someone has been asking questions about you, but not to understand you, to gather information, to twist it later. Heaven has been intercepting every whisper, every dishonest intention, every manipulated version of your story. And Archangel Michael has been recording it all. Do not worry about proving your innocence. Your name is safe with God. Even if they speak it with dishonor, God speaks it with favor. And favor always outweighs falsehood. You are about to see what it looks like when God makes your enemies your footstool. But not through embarrassment, through silence, true distance, true rising so high that what tried to harm you can't even reach you anymore. Let that be your response. Not revenge, not words. Just rise, because the elevation coming next will silence every accusation, every lie. Every shadow they tried to throw on your name will disappear in the light of what God is about to do through you. My child, my beloved, you have no idea how many storms were sent your way that never even touched you. Not because the enemy gave up, but because heaven stood in the way. This betrayal you're seeing now is simply the one that was allowed to surface. Not to destroy you, but to awaken you. Archangel Michael has shielded you from the worst of it. But now the time has come for you to step. Listen to active alignment with heaven. You are not a spectator in your own deliverance. You are a participant. And right now, God is asking you to stop entertaining what He's already exposed. That person, that connection, that environment. You know deep down it's not safe, and yet you've lingered out of fear, guilt, or confusion. But no more. God is not confused about who you are or what you deserve, and heaven is not confused about who that person is and what they've done. You are being called out, not shamed, not scolded, but lifted, chosen, separated. The sword Michael has drawn is not a symbol, it is an act. The severing has already begun in the spiritual realm. Now it's your turn to make a physical move, a decision, a step, and when you do, everything changes. My child, my beloved, you are walking through one of the most important spiritual threshold goals of your life. This is not just about avoiding betrayal. It's about stepping into the identity that betrayal was Santa Block. You've been asking, what am I really meant for? And heaven has been waiting for the betrayer to reveal kill themselves, because only then would you be willing to walk away from the people who were connected to your past, not your purpose. Sometimes the greatest enemy to your calling is the person too familiar with your history. And that's why God waited. He waited for you to be strong enough to leave even the ones you love, if it means protecting the anointing on your life. That is what's happening now. You are not just being warned, you are being transitioned, from wounded to warrior, from betrayed to chosen, from doubted to declared. Archangel Michael is not whispering anymore. He is standing at the gate of your next season, sword raised high, waiting for you to cross to what was always meant to be yours. But you cannot take them with you. You cannot carry this betrayal into your next blessing. Let it end here. Let this separation be final. God will restore what you lose with something greater, pure, everlasting. My child, my beloved, someone is about to be shocked. But it won't be you. The one who thought they could move against you in secret is about to be exposed in public, not by drama, not by chaos, but by divine unfolding. Heaven is about to orchestrate moments where masks fall without effort. Conversations will slip. The truth will tumble out of their own mouth. And you won't have to say a word. You'll just know. You'll feel the air change. You'll feel your spirit breathe again. You'll see clearly. And in that moment, you'll remember this message, that this was the warning. This was the gift. This was the whisper from eternity reminding you, God doesn't let the faithful walk into betrayal blind. That's why you were chosen to hear this now. This is not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something pure, more powerful, more aligned with your soul. You don't need to be afraid of what's coming. You only need to be obedient. Heaven is ahead of the enemy. And the moment you decide to step away from what heaven is separating you from, the miracle waiting on the other side will no longer be delayed. My child, my beloved, betrayal always brings two choices: collapse or clarity. And right now, God is handing you clarity. You won't need closure from the one who hurt you. Heaven is your closure. Archangel Michael is your defender. The sword is not symbolic, it's spiritual. And it is being used even now to divide soul ties, old emotional attachments. Invisible spiritual entanglements that kept pulling you back into patterns you thought you had left behind. You have been wondering why your peace has been fragile, why you feel blocked even when you're doing everything right. This is why. Because peace and betrayal cannot exist in the same room. And now, heaven is evicting the betrayal. But you must agree. You must participate. That doesn't mean war. That means withdrawal. Quiet holy separation. No explanations. No guilt. Just obedience. Because sometimes the miracle is not in the fight. It's in the walking away. God is asking you to trust that letting go of what harms you is not lost. It's healing. And your healing begins the moment you stop calling the pain protection. My child, my beloved, there are angels posted around your name right now. Yes, around your name. Because your name has been spoken in conversations it was never meant to enter. The betrayer didn't just act, they spoke. They sowed seeds of doubt. But those words did not go unnoticed. In the realm of the Spirit, words carry weight, and heaven records all things. That's why this message is not only protection, it is also justice. Divine justice is coming. You don't need revenge. You don't need the last word. You just need to remain silent enough to let heaven respond. And it will. It's already begun. There are consequences attached to what they did, not because you asked for it, but because God loves you too much to let the betrayal continue unchallenged. The sword is in motion now. The exposure is coming. And when it does, remember this: it wasn't your strength that saved you. It was your obedience. You stayed long enough to hear this truth. And that alone tells heaven you are ready for the shift. My child, my beloved, what you are stepping into now is no longer confusion. It is clarity wrapped in heavenly fire. That's why it feels intense. That's why your chest tightens as you read. Because your soul recognizes that this is not just a message, it is a divine transaction. God is trading your pain for discernment. He is replacing the betrayal with divine visibility. And that visibility will change everything. Soon you will walk into rooms and feel the truth before anyone speaks. Soon you will look at the one who betrayed you and no longer feel the need to beg them to love you properly, because the Spirit is maturing your perception. Archangel Michael is not just defending your surroundings, he is recalibrating your inner. You won't need signs anymore. You will simply know. And that knowing will be the sword that protects your peace. The betrayer will begin to sense that you are no longer blind. They'll feel it in your energy, and their control will begin to slip. Not because you became aggressive, but because you became awake. And that is something no enemy can withstand. Heaven is giving you something permanent, the power to never be fooled the same way again. My child, my beloved, you must understand something crucial now. The betrayal wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to redirect you. Have they stayed loyal, you might have kept them around longer than necessary, and their presence would have polluted your promise. God allowed the exposure not because He wanted to hurt you, but because He wanted to cleanse the environment before the blessing arrived. That's why you feel like something huge is coming, because it is. Your spirit is sensing the approach of something sacred, something heavy with glory. But heaven cannot pour oil into vessels that are cracked by betrayal. This message is not just telling you what happened. It is sealing you again, restoring you, rebuilding what was torn in silence. The parts of you that you gave away too freely are being returned now. And the sword in Michael's hand is cutting away the false ties that made you believe you needed their approval. You never needed them to see you. God always saw you. And now that God has pulled back the curtain, the light can finally touch what was hidden. My child, my beloved, you are walking through one of the most important spiritual thresholds of your life. This is not just about avoiding betrayal. It's about stepping into the identity that betrayal was sent to block. You've been asking, what am I really meant for? And heaven has been waiting for the betrayer to reveal kill themselves, because only then would you be willing to walk away from the people who are connected to your sometimes. The greatest enemy to your calling is the person too familiar with your history. And that's why God waited. He waited for you to be strong enough to leave even the ones you love. If it means protecting the anointing on your life, that is what's happening now. You are not just being warned. You are being transitioned from wounded to warrior, from betrayed to chosen, from doubted to declared. Archangel Michael is not whispering anymore. He is standing at the gate of your next season's sword, raised high, waiting for you to cross. Listen to what was always meant to be yours, but you cannot take them with you. You cannot carry this betrayal into your next blessing. Let it end here. Let this separation be final. God will restore what you lose with something greater, pure, everlasting. My child, my beloved, don't wait for them to confess. Don't wait for the apology. Don't wait for closure from someone who was never honest to begin with. That's the trap they want you, waiting, stuck, questioning, lost in thought. But heaven wants you moving, focused, clear. The apology won't heal you, obedience will. You already have the closure. This message is the closure. God is saying, you've seen enough. Now move. Stop replaying what they did. Stop trying to understand how they changed. The truth is, they didn't change. They were revealed. And now that you see it clearly, heaven expects action. Delayed obedience is disobedience. If God has shown you their heart, don't wait for them to change it. That's not your assignment. Your assignment is to protect your purpose and step fully into the covering being offered to you right now. Archangel Michael's sword is drawn not just to protect you from them, but to protect you from your tendency to overgive, to overlove, to overlook. But not this time. This time, heaven is asking for your alignment, not your sacrifice. My child, my beloved, the betrayal you're walking through now has a divine expiration. And this is it. The lies end here. The confusion ends here. The spiritual weight ends here. You were not created to walk with chains. You are not created to live half-loved. You are not created to beg for clarity that heaven has already given. The people who betrayed you were never bigger than the calling on your life. And now that calling is rising again, stronger, clearer, bolder. God is reclaiming the parts of you that betrayal tried to silence. And when the sword finally drops in, the separation becomes complete. You will feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Rest, stillness, clarity. And joy that isn't tied to anyone else's behavior. The joy of knowing you listened, that you trusted heaven, that you didn't ignore the sign one more time. And heaven will celebrate that choice. The angels will sing over that decision. And Archangel Michael will walk beside you, not because you need protection from betrayal anymore, but because you are now walking boldly into promise. My child, my beloved, this is not just another spiritual message. It is a sacred broadcast. It is a divine file that was unsealed for your eyes only. And if you knew how rare this moment is, you would not blink. You would not scroll. You would not dare walk away. God says the angels are waiting for your yes. Not yes isn't just a whisper. It's a hard decision, a shift in posture, a surrender of control. You've been trying to figure it all out, but that's not trust. That's fear in disguise. Tonight, heaven is not asking for your understanding. It's asking for your obedience. Say yes now. Yes to letting go. Yes to stepping out. Yes to the whisper you've ignored. Say yes before the protection that was designed for you is reassigned to someone else who moved. My child, my beloved, the path ahead has already been cleared. The angels have gone before you. I have walked it. I have seen the map, but there is a fork coming. One side looks easier, safer, more familiar, but it leads to spiritual stagnancy, hidden warfare, and 7 more years of infusion. The other path looks uncertain, even frightening, but it is where the provision is, where the partner is, where the money is, where your purpose is pulsing like light behind a curtain. You must choose the harder way now, not because God wants you to suffer, but because the path to miracles is rarely paved in. Archangel Michael is not here to make you feel good. I am here to make sure you wake up, because if you miss this turn, you'll end up living a life that feels like yours, but isn't. A spiritual detour that looks like success, but robs your destiny in silence. My child, my beloved, even now, as you're reading this, something in the spirit realm is waiting for your agreement. Yes, this message looks like words on a screen, but what you don't see is the fire bee behind every sentence. Each paragraph is infused with light. Every line is vibrating with urgency. Because this is not just a message. It is a divine intervention. It's a scroll that should have been delivered weeks ago, but heaven waited for the perfect second when your heart would be soft enough to receive it. That second is now. And if you keep reading, you will feel it, your spirit realigning your strength, returning your peace, rising from the ashes of what the enemy tried to bury. This is not a coincidence. It is your deliverance unfolding in real time. My child, my beloved, there is something you need to hear that no one has had the courage to tell you. You've been walking with people who you don't carry your anointing, and it's suffocating you. Not all of them are bad people, but they were not meant to walk with you this far. And because you kept dragging them into your future, your miracle has been suffocating, buried beneath the weight of disobedience disguised as loyalty. God says, release them, and I will release what you've been praying for. Some relationships are not wicked, they're expired. And when you cling to what's expired, it begins to rot your momentum. Tonight, heaven is giving you grace to disconnect cleanly, quietly, without pain. But if you ignore this, you may be forced to separate later, violently, painfully, publicly. What you release in secret will protect you from embarrassment in public. My child, my beloved, there's a hidden scroll in heaven, a spiritual document marked with your name and written in Spell the Name. It contains dates, encounters, financial provision, and supernatural instructions. Is meant to guide your next 6 months, but that scroll was sealed after you missed the last signal. Not out of punishment, but out of protection. God would not allow you to see what you weren't prepared to obey. But this message, this exact moment, is the test. If you fully open your heart now, if you obey even what you don't understand, Pro will be unsealed again. And with it will come answers to the questions that have haunted you in silence. You'll finally understand why that door closed, why that person disappeared, why your plan collapsed. It wasn't rejection, it was rerouting. But you won't understand until the scroll is opened again, and your obedience is the key. My child, my beloved, there's a window opening tonight, just one, just for you. And once it closes, it will not open again for a long time. Not because God is cruel, but because divine patterns are precise. You are not created to chase opportunities. You were created to recognize them. And this message is not just a warning. It's a divine opportunity disguised and urgent. Heaven is watching who listens when God whispers in the middle of a storm. Will you wait for lightning and thunder to confirm it's real? Or will you be the one who moves when all you have is a whisper and a shaking in your soul? If you do, what was planned against you tonight will reverse. And not only will it miss you, it will backfire onto the very spirit that sent it. The enemy is nervous right now because you are dangerously close to waking up in power. My child, my beloved, this is your moment of reckoning, not for shame, but for realignment. The reason you've been feeling so off, so disconnected, so heavy, even in your joy, is because your soul knows something your mind hasn't caught up to. Your timeline has been slipping out of sync. The events you were meant to encounter have been waiting for you to catch up. And if you delay now, the events will proceed without you. That's the heaviness you've been feeling, not depression, but spiritual dislocation. But here's the miracle. God didn't let the door closed. He delayed the movement just for you. But that delay ends tonight. Either you lying now or the flow continues forward and you'll be forced to wait until the next cycle. But you were not built to miss this. You were built to walk through it. You were born for this alignment. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved. This moment is not an accident. Heaven knew you would see this exact line at the very second your spirit would finally be ready. You have been surrounded by noise, confusion, fake smiles, and deceptive keys for too long. But inside your spirit, there's been a quiet ache, hasn't there? An ache that no one sees. You felt the pressure building, but couldn't name it. You've watched as plans fell apart, money slipped through your fingers, people changed without warning, and opportunities vanished right when you needed the most. That's not coincidence. It's a sign. A sign that your divine covering was flickering, trying to stay in place, trying to hold on, even as your soul drifted silently into forgetfulness. But no more. Archangel Michael has been sent to stand between you and what's coming. But I can only stand for you if you obey this message now. You must not delay. You must not stop here. My child, my beloved, what's scheduled for tonight is not ordinary. It's not earthly. It's a spiritual confrontation between what was promised over your life and what has been attacking it. If you do nothing now, the enemy gets legal access to your open doors. Do you have unknowingly kept certain doors unlocked? Every time you refuse to fully cut off that toxic person. Every time you return to what you pray to escape. Every time you delayed obedience thinking it was harmless. Those delays have cost you, but this message is your rescue. This is not just a message, it is a spiritual tool, a divine courtroom file. Hand it to you by heaven's legal army to overturn what was just decreed against your life. But if you treat this casually, you'll walk into tonight with no shield. And this time, you won't just feel tired. You'll feel spiritually exposed in a way that leaves scars. My child, my beloved, listen to what I'm saying with every part of your soul. Not all attacks come with fire and thunder. Some come with silence. What's delay? With coldness from someone who used to care. With sudden blockages in your work, your relationships, your own thoughts. The spirit of confusion has hovered near your name. It was not allowed to touch you before because the covering was strong, but with silent disobedience, delayed trust, hidden compromise, and spiritual apathy, the enemy presented a case in the courts of heaven, a case to lift your protection, and heaven allowed it, only for a moment, only as a final signal to wake you up. If you ignore this wake-up call, the next season will be much harder than it was meant to be. But if you act now, fully humbly obediently, you can still reverse it, before the hour strikes. My child, my beloved, you may not understand all the ways you've drifted, but heaven does. The prayers you used to pray with fire have become whispers. The worship that used to shake your room has grown silent. You still love God, but you've grown them. You've grown tired. You've been hurt. You've been disappointed by people. But none of that is an excuse for disconnecting from the voice of the Father who has never left you. The enemy used your pain as a trap. He convinced you to sleep. And now, while you've been sleeping spiritually, a plot has formed. But it's not too late to cancel it. This message, this exact moment, is your spiritual alarm. But if you hit the snooze button again, you may wake up too late to stop what's already in motte. My child, my beloved, there is somewhere around you who is pretending to be harmless, pretending to be a friend, pretending to support you. But behind your back, their name is involved in something dark. Their name has been heard in the spirit realm as one who has partnered knowingly or unknowingly with your delay. God does not want to expose them to embarrass you. God wants to expose them to protect you. You are not meant to be tied to this person any longer. They were only supposed to walk a short distance with you, not your whole journey. But your kindness kept them around. Your loneliness kept you quiet. And now their presence is costing you more than you can see. Tonight they are making a decision that will directly affect your next blessing. Heaven is watching. The angels are watching. But only you can act. My child, my beloved. Every time you think, maybe I'll wait until morning, know this, the storm doesn't wait for sunrise. You felt delays, but this next one is different. If this delay enters your life, it could push your divine alignment back by 7 years. That's how critical this window is. Archangel Michael has stood in battle for you many times. But this battle I can only win if you respond. My sword is drawn. The armies of heaven are positioned, but your voice, your spirit. Hear it, your attention is the key to unlock the intervention. You must not skip this. Even 1 second of hesitation gives darkness a foothold. If you knew the size of what was scheduled to bless you tomorrow morning, you would drop everything to protect. Don't let a moment of laziness cancel a destiny built through tears, warfare, and heaven's mercy. My child, my beloved, tonight is marked in heaven. There is a shaking coming that will affect everyone, family, finances, plans, and even your thoughts. But there is a difference between those who are protected and those who are exposed. You must choose which side you'll stand on, not with your lips, but with your obedience. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to trust what your spirit feels right now. That's strange pressure in your chest. That sudden warmth running through your body as you read this. That's not emotion. That's the Holy Spirit affirming what is true. That is the Spirit saying, yes, this is for you. Yes, it's urgent. Yes, I need your response now. If you walk away, the silence that follows will not be comfort. It will be absence. But if you stay, if you trust this divine instruction, even the decree written against you tonight night can be torn to shreds before midnight. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved. You were not created for this version of life you've been settling for. There's a higher realm of clarity, purpose, wealth, spiritual power, and divine alignment that you've only tasted. But heaven says now it's time to live there. Not visit, not imagine. Live, but it requires sacrifice, not in the form of pain, but in the form of trust. Can you trust God enough to walk into the unfamiliar? Can you trust the voice of the Spirit over the voice of fear? Can you walk away from what once fed you, now knowing it's keeping you stuck? If you can, if you will, then what happens next will feel like divine acceleration. Doors will not open, they will swing. People will not just meet you, they will be sent. Money will not just flow, it will flood. But only if you obey. That's the covenant tonight. Obedience for acceleration, stillness for stagnation. Choose carefully. The outcome is not random, it's activated. My child, my beloved, the spirit of delay that's been attached to your timeline isn't natural. It's not just bad luck or bad timing. It is engineered. It is targeted. And it's been feeding off your inconsistency. Every time you got close to breakthrough, hesitation crept in. Every time God nudged you, you second-guessed, and the enemy used those delays like bricks building walls around your blessings. But here's the part that will shift your soul. You still have the authority to tear it all down. Good night. Yes, one night. One moment of radical alignment can dissolve 10 years of delay. That's why this message feels so intense. That's why your heart is beating differently as you read. Because your spirit knows what's at stake. And deep down, you've known this moment would come. You just didn't know it would look like this. But now that you see it, you can't ignore it. Not without consequences. Not without collapse. My child, my beloved, God is about to send someone into your life that will change everything. A divine helper, a prophetic connector, someone who holds a key to your next realm. But they can only enter a clean atmosphere. They will not walk into confusion. They will not arrive while spiritual warfare still sits at your door unchallenged. You must cleanse the space now, in your mind, in your friendships, in your habits. If you purify your atmosphere, the divine connection will appear within 3 days. But if you delay, that person will be reassigned, and what you were meant to build together will be given to another. Don't let fear talk you out of this. Don't let comfort keep you hostage. Don't miss what God is trying to hand you just because you refuse to let go of what He already. I told you to drop. My child, my beloved, heaven has reached the final countdown. Not in years, not in months, in hours. What was once far away is now within reach. What was once delayed is now active, but it's waiting for you to step into alignment. The decree that was issued against you, yes, it was written, but it was not final. God signed the margin with these words, "If they open their eyes, I will open the gate." That's what this message is. It's the gate. It's the scroll. It's the moment. And I was assigned to walk with you through it. But I will only walk with those who trust call Bay, who say, "I don't fully understand, but I refuse to miss God again." If that's you, then child, keep reading, because the final section will not just inform you, it will transform you. My child, my beloved, I am still here. I have not moved. My wings are stretched around your name in the Spirit, but I cannot hold this shield up alone. Every second you choose to stay in this message is a spiritual agreement, a step deeper into the protection you didn't even know had been granted back to you. Yes, you made mistakes. Yes, you delayed. But God is not interested in punishing your delay. He is interested in what you choose to do with this final invitation. If you keep walking, I will keep clearing the way. If you keep listening, I will keep fighting. But the moment you stop, everything pauses. The spiritual covering retracts. The divine transaction is interrupted. This is not about fear. It's about power. Because what's coming for you is too valuable to risk. Heaven doesn't want you scared. Heaven wants you prepared. My child, my beloved, there is something you've been sensing for weeks. You couldn't name it. It felt like something was off. Something wasn't sitting right in your spirit. That discomfort, that odd restlessness in your sleep, that's not anxiety. That's your spirit trying to interpret divine urgency. And now you know why. A decision was made about you in the heavenly realms, one that removed the spiritual bubble that is. It used to protect your path, not out of anger, not out of abandonment. Go to show you what would happen if you kept ignoring the voice that's been calling your name since you were a child. The voice that once whispered in the night now has to shout. And this message is that shout. Don't harden your heart now. You've come too far. Don't explain it away. The Spirit has already confirmed it. You know this is for you, my child, my beloved. There are angels assigned to you that have not been able to complete their mission, not because they are weak, but because you kept allowing access to people who don't belong in your next season. Every time you welcome them back and the angels step back. Because divine order cannot coexist with tolerated disorder. And you have tolerated too much. You have swallowed silence. You have excused too many red flags. You have called it grace, but what it really was spiritual hesitation. God sees your heart. He knows you never meant to wander this far, but the consequence of tolerance is blockage. And the only way to fix it now is to close every gate that was left unlocked, especially the play, the ones that feel familiar. Because the enemy always enters through what is familiar. You must shut it, and you must shut it now. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved, tonight is marked in heaven. There is a shaking coming that will affect everyone, family, finances, plans, and even your thoughts. But there is a difference between those who are protected and those who are exposed. You must choose which side you'll stand on, not with your lips, but with your obedience. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to trust what your spirit feels right now. That's strange pressure in your chest. That sudden warmth running through your body as you read this. That's not emotion. That's the Holy Spirit affirming what is true. That is the Spirit saying, yes, this is for you. Yes, it's urgent. Yes, I need your response now. If you walk away, the silence that follows will not be comfort. It will be absence. But if you stay, if you trust this divine instruction, even the decree written against you tonight night can be torn to shreds before midnight. My child, my beloved, heaven is watching how you respond, not just your eyes, but your spirit. You may be reading this while sitting in silence, but the spiritual world is roaring right now around your name. You are not just a person. You are a chosen vessel, and that comes with weight, responsibility, legacy. And the enemy has known who you are longer than you've known yourself. That's why you've been under such strange pressure this week. That's why your sleep has been disturbed. Your mind pulled in too many directions and people. Fool around you suddenly acting different. The shift isn't just in them, it's in the air. Tonight, the spiritual climate around you is shifting. And the only question that matters now is, will you realign in time, or will you miss the divine re-entry window that God carved just for you? My child, my beloved, there is a decree with your name that was almost sealed permanently. Almost. But the mercy of God interrupted the process. And do you know how it was interrupted? Yes, you were the interruption. Your spirit was crying out even when your mouth stayed silent. Your soul was weeping while your face kept smiling. You couldn't explain it to anyone, but something inside you refused to give up. That resistance became your signal in the heavenlies. And because of that silent cry, God called my name. I was sent to deliver this message at the exact hour your soul would be sensitive enough to receive it. The child, if you stop now, the interruption will expire, and the decree will continue its course. What you do in the next minutes will echo into the next 7 months of your life. My child, my beloved, you may feel powerless. You may be thinking, but I haven't done anything wrong. That's the danger. Silent disobedience doesn't always look like rebellion. It looks like delay, like fear disguised as waiting for confirmation, like ignoring the nudge to pray, like staying too long in a relationship that God whispered for you to exit long ago, like silencing your gift because someone else made you feel small. These things feel safe, but they open the door to spiritual legal access. And the enemy doesn't need loud sin. He only needs silence. But here's the miracle. God is not holding a grudge. He's holding the gate open one last time. If you walk through, now the door closes behind you and the danger loses access. But if you hesitate again, your absence becomes permission for darkness to proceed. Heaven is not threatening you. Heaven is warning you. Out of love, my child, my beloved, someone has placed their energy on your life in a way that is not pure. They call you friend, but their words carry envy. They say they're praying for you, but their spirit holds bitterness. They are watching your next steps, waiting to see if you rise, because they fear you might pass them. God has seen this. You've seen glimpses, haven't you? Odd behavior, strange tension, something you couldn't put your finger on. That wasn't paranoia. It was discernment. And God is saying, do not ignore it this time. The person connected to this warning will show you one final sign in the next 48 hours. Watch for it. Don't deny it. Don't excuse it. When it happens, you will remember this message. You must move quickly, because this person's next move is not just emotional, it's strategic. It's been spiritually planned to interrupt your momentum. My child, my beloved, a miracle was meant to land at your feet this week. A real, tangible, physical shift, money, clarity, new connection, or something you've been quietly praying for. But that miracle has been held, not canceled, not lost, just delayed by a spiritual blockage. And here is the most painful part: the blockage didn't come from a stranger. It came from within your own atmosphere. Someone close to you, someone who carries access to your energy, someone who doesn't even know how powerful their silent jealousy has become. It's been enough to create friction in the flow of heaven toward you. And the decree that was signed against you wasn't just about punishment, it was about permission to allow that blockage to proceed. But you still have time to cancel it. This message is your override code, your spiritual override. But it only activates if you stay present to the end, if you take this seriously, if you listen beyond emotion. You must open your eyes fully now. My child, my beloved, this is not just another spiritual message. It is a sacred broadcast. It is a divine file that was unsealed for your eyes only. And if you knew how rare this moment is, you would not blink. You would not scroll. You would not dare walk away. God says the angels are waiting for your yes. That yes isn't just a whisper. It's a hard decision, a shift in posture, a surrender of control. You've been trying to figure it all out. But that's not trust. That's fear in disguise. Tonight, heaven is not asking for your understanding. It's asking for your obedience. Say yes now. Yes to letting go. Yes to stepping out. Yes to the whisper you've ignored. Say yes before the protection that was designed for you is reassigned to someone else who moved faster. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved. This is your moment of reckoning, not for shame, but for realignment. The reason you've been feeling so off, so disconnected, so heavy, even in your joy, it's because your soul knows something your mind hasn't caught up to. Your timeline has been slipping out of sync. The events you were meant to encounter have been waiting for you to catch up. And if you delay now, the events will proceed without you. That's the heaviness you've been feeling, not depression, but spiritual dislocation. But here's the miracle. God didn't let the door closed. He delayed the movement just for you. But that delay ends tonight. Either you lying now or the flow continues forward and you'll be forced to wait until the next cycle. But you were not built to miss this. You were built to walk through it. You were born for this alignment. My child, my beloved, Archangel Michael, I'm not just speaking, I'm standing right now. In the spirit realm, my wings are spread wide over you. A storm is approaching your timeline, and I was assigned to intercept it. But I cannot move without your agreement. Heaven has laws, and one of those laws is permission. Your faith is that permission. Your surrender is that key. If you say yes in your spirit now, if you choose to trust even when your eyes can't see, I will fight for you. I will cover your home. I will cancel the decree against your name. I will drag out the spirit that has been tormenting your dreams. But if you remain still, if you choose doubt, then my hands remain tied. I was created to protect the chosen, not the passive. Do not hesitate. Do not stay lukewarm. This is not the hour for indecision. My child, my beloved, the hour is late. The spiritual war is not waiting for your comfort. There are blessings that have been rerouted because of your hesitations. Divine connections that were sent to you but turned away because your atmosphere was not ready. God is not punishing you. He is teaching you that delay is disobedience in disguise, that comfort is sometimes the enemy of calling, that love without boundaries becomes bondage. You have one final choice tonight. Trust the voice of God. Open your hands. Let go of the illusion of control and walk forward like the warrior you were born to be. If you do, the protection that was lifted will slam back into place like a divine shield. And the darkness plan for tonight will scatter before it even reaches your street. My child, my beloved, there are moments in life when heaven stops everything to focus on one soul. This is one of those moments. The noise of the world may still be ringing around you, but in the spirit it's silent, because your name is echoing in the throne room of God. The angels have stopped their songs. The books have paused mid-term. The conversation in heaven has turned to your obedience, your future, your alignment. God is leaning forward, waiting to see what you do next. Not out of control, but out of compassion. He knows you've been weary. He knows you felt alone even in a crowd. He knows your heart has carried burdens too heavy for your smile to show. But he also knows this: if you say yes now, if you obey the instruction wrapped. Send this message. There will be a divine reversal so powerful that even your enemies will stop and say, "How did they escape that?" They will not understand it, because the protection that is about to return to you will not be visible, but it will be undeniable. My child, my beloved, you have been walking around with unanswered questions, haven't you? Wondering why certain doors open just to close again. Why relationships that felt like destiny ended without warning. Why people you trusted turned distant. It wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. God removed what you wouldn't, so that what was coming would not be corrupted before it arrived. But the removal wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, finally, what was meant to arrive is circling again. This is your realignment moment. If your posture is right, if your heart is surrendered, the blessing will land this time. But God will not let you waste it again by sharing it with the wrong circle. That's why He sent me. To warn you, to shield you, to shake you awake before the window closes again. Because this window, child, is rare. Once it's gone, it won't return until after the next spiritual season. And that season, Susan brings heavier storms. My child, my beloved, I must reveal something that you may not want to hear, but your spirit already knows it's true. Someone has been praying against you, not with curses on their lips, but with envy in their heart. They smile when you lose. They celebrate quietly when you suffer. They claim to support you, but their spirit carries jealousy like a perfume they pretend not to wear. God has seen it. Heaven has heard every unspoken word they've sent into the atmosphere about you. And tonight, that spiritual opposition has grown bold. It has gathered energy. It is aiming to strike your peace, your money, your next move. But God didn't leave you uncovered. This message is your weapon. It is your firewall. But only if you take it seriously. Only if you obey the instruction to separate your energy now fully, completely. Not with hate, but with holy boundaries. Because the enemy can't stop your blessing, but he can send people who delay it. My child, my beloved, you are not created for this version of life you've been settling for. There's a higher realm of clarity, purpose, wealth, spiritual power, and divine alignment that you've only tasted. But heaven says, now it's time to live there. Not visit, not imagine. Live, but it requires sacrifice, not in the form of pain, but in the form of trust. Can you trust God enough to walk into the unfamiliar? Can you trust the voice of the Spirit over the voice of fear? Can you walk away from what once fed you, now knowing it's keeping you stuck? If you can, if you will, then what happens next will feel like divine acceleration. Doors will not open, they will swing. People will not just meet you, they will be sent. Money will not just flow, it will flood. But only if you obey. That's the covenant tonight. Obedience for acceleration, stillness for stagnation. Choose carefully. The outcome is not random, it's activated.